Hello, once again, Louisiana. Welcome to Let's Talk Money with Mark Provenzano. He is a financial advisor and the founder of Hedged Private Wealth. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. Every single week, Mark provides you retirement planning solutions. Mark, what's on your mind this week? How you doing?
I'm doing great, but it has been a busy year, Spike, and a crazy year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, lots going on in the markets.
Yes.
Lots going on that are out of our hands. Incredibly high inflation. We've seen interest rates, of course, the market volatility. And one of the things that we're going to address on today's program is the importance of having a financial plan. And this might sound a little bit like the basics, but I'm telling you, in today's day and age, I think this show is so incredibly relevant for your viewers, because I'd like to know what goes into a financial plan. Where did it even really start from for you? And we're going to ask for the viewers out there, why is it so important to have one, and the elements in it, and how it can help them. You ready to get kicked off?
Absolutely, Spike. Well, obviously, it's very important. You have to have something in writing, in a book, like we give you, a nice big binder, and that's going to contain the components that we get from you, right? That's the questions we ask you. So we ask you these questions, we formulate a plan, we give it back to you, we go through it with you, and you look at, like you said, this is important, right? And it really is. This is just a basis, because if you don't have it, where is it going to come from? And there's been so many of our clients that have actually said, Mark, your binder came in so handy. We were able to find this or that we were looking for. And what we include in there, Spike, like the financial plan, what are the components, right?
Right.
You're talking about an income plan. You're talking about an investment planning. You're talking about healthcare planning. You're talking about estate planning. And the most important, tax planning, which we all sort of hate until we can really get that tax plan down. Then we see what it does, then we love it, right?
This sounds like a whole different level, because we've talked about the different stages of accumulation. You've got your accumulation, you've got your preservation of wealth, and then we've got kind of our drawdown and making sure it lasts. But this is a lot more than just investment strategy. So as the founder of Hedged Private Wealth, of course, the investment management, making sure those dollars last, incredibly important.
Yes.
But this sounds like more than, you said estate planning and taxes, even health choices in there.
Absolutely.
It's comprehensive.
Very comprehensive. And that's what we always try to give to our clients. We try to give more than what's needed, only because it's always there. They may have to go to their attorney. We've already figured it out. It's already done. They just hand the sheet to their attorney, and then they talk about it, and they go through it, and they're like, Mark, that was great what you had for us, because it was very usable. So yes, and the components of it, we talk about that, and we always try to tell our viewers, you need to start early, right? You have to start early, because the plan is going to change, things are going to change. We have to take into account the longevity part of it, right?
Right.
That today is a very hot topic, like you and I have discussed in many previous shows here. Longevity, will your money last? How do we make it last, right?
So let me ask you that then. This plan, because the binder, printed, put together, and so forth, I would imagine that our own lives change, right?
All the time.
Whether through divorce or death or marriage or births or kids or grandkids and people brought into the family. So how then do you adjust this plan over time? What do you do? Do you say to folks who come in and work with you, call us when you have a life event? Is it annual? Does it depend? Both? All of the above?
Annual,
Yes.
for sure,
Oh,
annual,
okay.
for sure, annual, Spike. And we have a very open door policy at Hedged Private Wealth. If you feel the need, if any of our clients feel the need to want to pick up the phone, make an appointment to come in, we don't even ask what it's about. We just say, sure, Mark's available at this time. Okay, so yes, we have a very open door policy in that. And just like you said, you have these life-changing events that are going to occur. So it's better to stay on top of them and say, well, wait, we just talked about this, but we got this little small minor piece that's changed, Mark. Do I need to come in, or can we do it over the phone? You can come in if you want to, but I can definitely change that, update your file, and I'll send you the 3-hole, punched copy, nice paper, and you put it in yours. But we're always available.
Right.
Whatever the client wants, we're very amenable.
And again, for our viewers out there, the importance of having an actual written financial plan. I think this might be an analogy that everybody understands. I'll start with you, Mark. Who does more of the cooking at home, you or Karen?
I do.
You do?
I do.
Okay, all right. Now,
Yes.
Are you at the point where you can do it from scratch, or are there things that you still pull out recipes for?
Scratch. Absolutely stretch. Absolutely.
But you've got to know how to, get the certain amount of proper ingredients in
yes.
there and where to get it right.
Oh, yes.
So you've got, a plan with something as simple
Absolutely.
as cooking.
Absolutely.
We've often talked about this before, that some people put more planning into going on vacation than they do for their own retirement. They don't spend even just a couple hours planning some of these things out. We've got to write this stuff down. It's not just going to happen without a plan.
Monumental. It's monumental. And you're so right. We use the analogy, right, to cooking. Do I need to look at the recipes? Not if it's the same things that I've made over and over, but this comes back to what we do. We've been doing this for decades. So we know all the questions to ask. We have the documents already in place. We just need to extract the information out of you. That's the main thing. Once we get that information, then we can start to build and build and build and change and transition, recommendations, advise, and such.
So that first appointment, first time that somebody might call in from your television program or come to one of your live events, it's not about pitching a product at somebody. Because at first it sounds like we've got to get to know all of these things about somebody first before you can even give them a pathway.
100%. Thank you for saying that, Spike. Yes, the first meeting is going to be very, very laid back. You come to the Galleria. Everyone knows where the Galleria is at in Metairie, Galleria Boulevard, number 1 Galleria Boulevard. You come back, you're going to be met very warmly. We'll have a cup of coffee or tea waiting for you. You tell us your preference beforehand, and we'll sit down and we'll have a nice discussion. That's all it really is a discussion to see how well you work with me and how well I work with you, and we see if we're a fit. And I got to tell you, we have a very, very good high success rate because we listen to our clients.
Right. And I would say there's probably also folks who there's not a lot you can do for. I mean, if you've saved a certain amount, but it's not about having incredible wealth. If you're completely reliant on Social Security, there's probably not a lot that you can do out there for folks. You're willing to talk with anybody, though, if folks want to call the phone number. But your ideal person is probably somebody who's saved, been working, maybe both husband and wife or solo, and they're trying to figure out what to do with these assets. Because I don't know if folks want to go into being in retirement and all of a sudden become their own pension manager and see if they want this money to last all the way throughout their entire life. It's kind of difficult.
It is. And the one good point you said there, actually 2 very good points, is the first one is we're never going to turn you away. If you call and schedule an appointment with us, we're going to give you 45 minutes to an hour, always, to talk. Who knows? We may have an inheritance. We don't know at that particular time. But we'll talk about it. We'll discuss it. Second thing is, our ideal client is pretty much he or she or the couple, the husband and wife, that has pretty much already been through economic events. They've already seen the ups and downs for quite a few decades now of what can actually happen in the market. They're pretty secure. Some of them know what they want their money to actually do. It's just a matter of continuing to do it on an ongoing basis. So we're looking for that right individual who has, hopefully they've done very well, they're successful, they do have some investable assets, and usually that's $250,000 or more of investable assets that we can actually work with and do something with and do really good stuff with.
Okay, Mark, we're going to take a very short break. Folks, if you would like to get started on your own written financial plan for retirement, it can start right here. Call the phone number you see on the bottom of the screen, 888-339-2048, so you can talk with Mark Provenzano, the founder of Hedged Private Wealth. We're going to continue to talk about retirement planning and how you put together your own written financial plan with a financial advisor when we get back, right after this.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Money with Mark Provenzano. He is the founder of Hedged Private Wealth, a financial advisor himself. I'm your host, Spike Spangle, and I always try to help Mark through these wonderful topics. We're talking about putting together a written financial plan. And I do enjoy it because I learn so much from these kinds of programs, especially working with you. And I have up on your website here. So what's the website again? Folks be able to go there?
www.hedgedprivatewealth.com. And that's hedged with the ED.
Hedgedprivatewealth.com. And what I have up are your 5 pillars of a sound retirement plan. This is a written financial plan. He puts it together for folks like you who are watching the program. This isn't about having just millions and millions of dollars. As you've said, if you've had investable assets, if you've saved into those 401ks, 403bs, and you're trying to figure out, what do I do now? Do I manage them myself? Do I leave them at my employer when I retire? How do I create an income stream? How do I take care of taxes and pay as little as possible, if that is possible? Right. All of that is part of putting together a retirement plan. So let me, pillar number 1, Hunt, income planning. Does that mean you putting together a budget for folks, telling people what they can and can't spend?
No, we never tell them what they can and can't spend. However, the questions we ask, the report, the cash flow statement reveals that, because we're looking at the income and expenses, right? And that's going to give us, and one thing that I do ask for more as an accountant is the variable expenses. I like to know all the expenses, so that's how we can make a very, very good recommendation.
Now, I got to ask you, buddy, between a husband and wife, how many times do both sides maybe not know exactly what the other side is spending? And I'm not trying to get anybody in a fight out there at home. But
you said it, I didn't.
We don't often know which both sides, or one person might be handling many of the daily and weekly expenses and doing the grocery shopping, and one does like maybe the monthly bill paying. Are couples surprised sometimes when they come in together and go, oh, I didn't realize we're spending that much on food, auto, healthcare?
That's exactly what happens almost every time. 90% plus of the time, they didn't realize because they've never physically put down an income statement or a cash flow statement. They've never done that. And they are quite surprised. And as far as who's spending what, that usually comes out. That comes out quickly. But, you know, it's better to have, we always try to request both husband and wife come, both partners come, right? Because there's so much more we can get from it that maybe one doesn't know. Like you said, one may not be looking at all the expenses. They may miss 30% of the expenses. Well, that's important to us because the plan, the income plan that we put together,
is a lot, yeah.
Yes, the income plan we put together, it's based on where you are today.
Right, right, and knowing what those monthly expenses are. I'll also say for the flip side of the coin, if you're going into retirement solo, you may have already had a death of your spouse, or you may have not gotten married, and that's fine too. Or, and is it as important then to have an income plan if you're by yourself? I mean, isn't it just me taking care of my own needs?
It's usually more. It's more.
Really?
It's more. Yes, because think about it. You're dealing with one income now. You're dealing with the Social Security there. There may be multiple incomes with that one individual. But I personally feel that you need to watch it even closer when there's just one partner involved. Just one.
Thank you.
Just one.
Oh, that's incredible. Second pillar that's on your website here even says healthcare planning. Now, I'm sorry, you're the founder of Hedged Private Wealth. What are you doing in the healthcare sector? I don't get. How do you help people with that?
Well, the healthcare sector I've been working in for the last 25 years as well. And you know, retirees tend to not even really think about that. They just think, well, I've got my Medicare and I'm fine. But you know, there's a longevity component to that too. Are you going to outlive your money? We have reports for that. That's going to disclose that. How much money you have versus how you live, right? The income, cash flow.
Starting with that first pillar you said, the income planning. So
That's
first we're like, all right, what do we think our monthly expenses are going to be? By the way, something I just thought of looking at it, those expenses can also likely go up because of inflation, correct?
We're seeing that right now. We're hearing a lot about that. We get a lot of phone calls concerning that. And, you know, that's why we address this. That's why we ask you to come in at least once a year, sit with us, let's have a friendly discussion. And and everyone is so glad that they did once they do come in. I mean, it's a great time.
Right.
And I noticed the more and more as we go on with the years, we get maybe 5% done, and 95% is just all talking about everything happening.
Because you get to know folks.
Yeah,
and-
it really is. It's like, well, you came, but 5% we spent on, your actual portfolio.
Yeah.
So, but I usually would keep my clients in the guardrails. I'll get them back in when we get
Is the
too far.
clients? I don't know. You're quite talkative yourself. buddy.
Yeah, but I know what has to be done, but I let them guide me.
But back to the real
Yes.
quick. The
Yes.
healthcare plan, you said Medicare. Do you have somebody in your office who helps you out?
We
with that,
do.
or-
My wife, Carrie, she's the Medicare expert, and she can help anyone out. It doesn't matter where you are, or you're just choosing, should you wait? She handles all of that. That's a great big help to us. I let her handle that because, as we all know, Medicare can become quite confusing.
There's that time of year when we just start getting bombarded with all those commercials. What is it, October?
Open enrollment,
The
October
open enrollment
15th.
time.
October 15th to December 7th, yes. She gets very busy during that time.
Right,
Very
right.
busy.
And so what does Carrie help evaluate in there? Is it what part of the supplements are you using or not using, or how much are you paying out of pocket? Because there's all the different plans.
Exactly. Should the retiree have a Medicare supplement? Should they have a Medicare Advantage plan? And there's distinguishes, and there's reasons why we advise on what someone should have, but ultimately it resides with our client, what they want. One has a cost, one doesn't, right? So she figures all that out. I'll leave that to her. But yes, it's quite a daunting task when it does come up for open enrollment, because a lot of our clients, they say, we get a call from almost everyone. Do we need to change? Do we need to change? Should we change plans? Should we change? No, you're fine, and there's nothing changed. We would have let you know and sent you a letter, right? So, but that is a very big component, and Carrie handles that because that's always on the senior's mind.
Right,
The
right.
retiree, always.
And you've mentioned longevity a couple of times,
Yes.
so I want to ask you, can you also help folks address those long-term care needs? I had some long-term care needs in my family from both of my grandmothers. It's a big concern. It's one of the reasons why I'm in the industry, and I like talking about it. Or not like talking about it, so we
Yes.
need to. It's,
Yes,
I
but we
think, one
need
of the
to.
biggest epidemics that's across the country right now. Millions of Americans are going into retirement not knowing if they can stay retired, because saving for it isn't just enough. If you go into long-term care, you said it before, I think it was at one of your live events. What is it now, like an annual cost for long-term care?
It's just like 100. It's running at 100,000. 100,000, yeah. So
Yeah. So how quickly is that going to eat away at your savings?
Exactly. And one of the things about the long-term care, and we do discuss that, is Spike, that is a very expensive component of retirement. It can be anywhere from $300 to $600 a month just for one individual. So, but we do have some options now. These big insurance carriers have come up with some really innovative products for individuals that it's a different avenue for getting to long-term care, which is usually less expensive, and we can even get more benefits from it. And if you don't use it, sometimes we get all the money back. It just depends. Of course, the biggest thing with long-term care is what? There's a health care qualifier. It's very hard to qualify for that. So we try to tell our clients that if you do get accepted, you've already went through all the motions. Take it. If you got accepted, take it. You made us go through all this, take it.
Speaking
So,
of taking it, I got to take a short
Yes.
break right now. Folks, call right now so you can get your own complimentary written financial plan for retirement. It's going to be covered by the pillars that Mark has been talking about here: income planning, healthcare planning, talking about investment strategy. We'll get to a little bit about that when we come back for break. Also estate planning, and I want to ask him a bit about taxes. But for you to get started on your own written financial plan, call the phone number you see right here, or you can use that QR code as well. You can open your phone to the camera function and point it at that black and white box. It'll take you over to our website so you can schedule an appointment. More Let's Talk Money with Mark Provenzano of Hedged Private Wealth when we get back right after this.
When was the last time you saw your financial professional? Are you getting the most out of the strategy that was created for you? Although you've done a great job finding someone to help plan for your future, are you 100% sure that you were given the right strategy? We can help answer these questions and more with a complimentary second opinion evaluation. We will take a look at what you have in place and then help determine if you're well positioned to get the most out of your future retirement income. In the event that it is not, we can help by making suggestions and showing you how to get on the right path. You wouldn't get just one opinion when it comes to a major health decision, so why would you treat your most important financial decision with such disregard? Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation second opinion evaluation to see if you're getting the most out of your retirement income plan.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Money with Mark Provenzano. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. Mark is the founder of Hedged Private Wealth. He is a financial advisor. Their firm is registered in the fiduciary capacity, which means we have to make decisions with your best interest in mind at all times. And we're talking about the financial plan, some of the pillars in it. We haven't even hit yet on investment planning.
Right.
You know, we're in our last segment of the show and we haven't talked about investments. What do you have a philosophy? If you and I were sitting across and this had an adult beverage and we were at a bar, I'd say, how do you invest? Are you guys risky? We say, no, we take less risk as we get towards retirement.
Right.
What's Hedged Private Wealth philosophy on investing?
Our philosophy at Hedged Private Wealth is very, very simple. It all starts and begins with you by checking your suitability. It's what is your suitability? And we're going to let you know from our experience of 20 plus years in the business if you're in line or you're out of bounds. We're going to let you know. Now, if you continue to want to go out of bounds, that's a different discussion. However, there's many things that go into that. Many things. And that's why we ask them to come in so we can go through these questions.
Right. And so when I'm getting to retirement, I might have the one 401k from where I'm at. And maybe I've got another one or two floating from former employers, and maybe my spouse has had one or two, or they've got an inheritance from the parents and they had some stocks in there, and maybe somebody had an annuity, and maybe somebody had life insurance.
Oh, yes.
How do we put all of this together? I mean, do we just, when I get to retirement, I start taking from the largest accounts first?
Right.
How do we put the plan together?
And to go back, this is where the binder comes into play. Everything is in one spot. And we have gotten rave reviews over this. Now, when you look at this, think about it. When you actually start to plan, you have to have a plan to know what you're doing and where you're taking from, right? That's why the first initial step is so important. We have to know where the assets are. If they are sitting in 401k, they are sitting in 403b, you got this all over, you've changed jobs, both the husband and wife, 3, 4 times. Yes, you have a lot of financials all over the place. We always try to encourage to bring that in-house with us. Bring it all, let's make things simpler for the retiree, right? Always. That's my first and number one goal, because that allows them to have confidence in what we're doing. We can go to the paperwork, we can go to the spreadsheets, we know what we're looking at when it's brought in. And think about it. This has been time proven by the PhDs in the business, right? Really. Rates, are they higher or lower outside of what usually the advisors can do as far as sitting in the 401s? They're usually pretty high with not many investment options.
Yeah.
So that's why we try to consolidate this. We do the rollovers, we do the transfers. Bring it under one house, make it simple.
And I think you've also said this before, because we've talked about diversification, but oftentimes if you have 1 or 2 or 3 different accounts or those 401ks, there's a lot of overlap. We're in a lot of the same things when you plug that into the computer, right?
Yes. That's why we try to bring everything in with just bring it all together and let's make a decision on what type of diversification do we really want and need. Because like you said, if you got 2 or 3 401s, it could be all in the same stuff. The portfolio, all the investments could be all labeled under financial, industrial. So let's get it to where it's manageable. Let's make sense of it. And that's what we try to do for you. Make sense of it, right?
Right. Also, one of the pillars, while we've got a few minutes left here, that is on your financial plan that you put together for clients is taxes. Now, wait a minute. Aren't you a recovering CPA? Wasn't this a part of a lifetime?
That would be my daughter who just joined the firm. She just got her CPA, bless her heart.
Wonderful.
Yes, Mia. So, we are not a firm that actually produces the tax preparation.
Okay.
We don't do that.
All right, so April 15th, that's not the focus of what you're
That's
talking
right.
about when you say taxes.
Our clients are not going to lose us during this busy tax season. We're still going to be available for you. Now, I do work with my own personal CPA up in Pennsylvania, who is very, very good. I have turned him on and recommended him to many of my clients. He's very, very good. That's where we do the tax planning. Hedge Private Wealth is heavily, heavily engaged in tax planning. Why? Because we're always looking to mitigate risk. We're looking to save the client every step of the way. And the wealthy know this very, very much. They have, have quite a few of a team, right?
Yeah.
Tax attorneys, the CPAs, the CFPs, and they're always trying to save everything that they can because they're trying to have some smart
Right.
assets in there.
Right, right. And this is part of trying to maybe get to a tax-free income stream or at least portion of it. What are some of the steps of that when we say tax-free? Are you talking about Roth conversions? You talk about annuities? How do you get to any part of a tax-free income stream?
Well, once again, one of them is going to be, tax code 7702, right? It's going to be the life insurance, which, like I told you earlier, these companies are coming out with some really savvy products these days. So, as we know, we convert, if it's structured properly, we can convert a sum of money that's just sitting in a savings account, getting 2%. We can just simply get that over into a correct 7702 life insurance plan. Then what happens upon the passing? It is all passed on income tax free. That's one of them, right? Annuities. We could have a whole segment on annuities, but that
We probably will.
And we should, to be quite frank.
Yeah.
We should, because when I sit here and tell my clients, we can participate in the market gains, but not in the losses. You have an income for life. You have a private pension. We can wrap up and go home from there, because that's where a lot of retirees,
Yeah.
that's what they want, but they're very adverse to it until we get them in, we talk to them about it, and that may be a play, that may not be a strategy. It just depends.
Mark, we're going to have to wrap up today's show, but why don't you tell the
Absolutely.
viewers out there, if you mind, the virtues of having a financial plan and what you can get by calling the phone number
Yes.
here.
If you're concerned about, is your financial plan up to par, or you just want a second opinion, or maybe a third opinion, come see us. Call 888-339-2048. You're going to meet with me, that I promise, and we're going to go through some steps. They're going to be very simple. Like I said, the first meeting is a discovery meeting for each of us, and we will go ahead and put together income plans, mitigation, risk mitigation, the whole retirement comprehensive plan, like we always talk about.
Yeah.
It's comprehensive, it's more than what you want, but it's there for you if you need
Right,
it.
right. And like you said, it's a binder full of information, so it's more than just, this is not about a product, this is a process.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Mark, for taking us
You're
through
welcome,
it today.
Spike.
Folks, call for your own complimentary written financial plan from Mark Provenzano of Hedge Private Wealth, 888-339-2048. Thank you for watching. We'll be back again next week.